My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of the 2005 movie Fantastic Four. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But I know this movie has a bad reputation. But here's the deal. There were only a few superhero movies that I watched growing up. There was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. There was Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Daredevil, a couple of the X-Men movies, and these two Fantastic Four movies. And I watched this movie so much as a kid. I just loved it. So I'll admit, I do have plenty of nostalgia for this movie, but rewatching it, I still think it's an enjoyable movie. Not great, but fine enough. So let's begin by talking about the cast. And Ian Grufford does a perfectly fine job. He's not leading man material, but he still brings enough personality to this character. He's convincing enough. Jessica Alba is not a great actress, but she's not boring. She's entertaining enough. Chris Evans is the clear standout. This guy is funny and charming and likable, and he just steals every scene he's in. Michael Chiklis has a lot to do in this movie, and he's convincing enough. Julian McMahon as Victor Von Doom is pretty bad. To be fair, he's given really weak material, but he's just flat and uninteresting. And Kerry Washington is perfectly fine for her minimal screen time. So the cast is fine enough. But I do like the story being told. It's everything I want in a superhero origin story. We get introduced to these characters before they get their powers. Then they get their powers. Then they have to get used to their powers. And then they use their powers to fight the villain. The end. Just exactly what I want from this kind of story. And the movie is just over 90 minutes. It's very lighthearted. It's very cheesy. So it's just an easy movie to watch. And it's filled with these great smaller character moments. Like there's one scene where Reed needs toilet paper, so he stretches his arm to go get some. There's a scene where Johnny is snowboarding, set to Newts by Sum 41, which is a terrific song, but that's a very entertaining scene. There's a scene where Johnny gives Ben a meal, and he's like, oh, they did everything they could to fix you. And he looks at the meal and he's normal. That's a great joke. Or when he puts the shaving cream in Ben's hand and he's trying to tickle his face. Like, this movie does have these entertaining character moments. The costumes and the makeup are pretty good, I would say. The CGI, you can tell, hasn't aged the best, but it's still fine enough. And the action is fine. There's not really much action. There's one scene where the Human Torch is getting chased by a rocket, and there's one other bit of action. So it's fine, but it's actually very light on action now that I'm thinking about it. But Yeah, my issue with this movie is that the script is completely underdeveloped. Doom is a terrible villain. He just feels like a discount Norman Osborn, and everything with him turning evil just felt so unbelievably rushed. And then we also get this love triangle between Reed, Sue, and Victor. And the movie begins, and Victor is proposing to Sue. And then the movie just kind of throws Victor away from her life. So then she starts rekindling a relationship with Reed, and the whole thing just feels really weird. Like, if you're going to introduce a love triangle, then have it be a love triangle. So, anyways, the movie feels like it's 2 hours and 10 minutes long, but it got condensed to an hour and 40 minutes. Like, there are scenes missing. Like, there's a scene on the bridge where Sue starts undressing so she can be invisible. And then the next scene, she's getting dressed again, and she's like, I never want to do that again. And Reed is like, we couldn't get here if you didn't. And I'm like, am I missing something? Like, there are chunks of this movie missing. And even as a kid, it threw me off when Victor was leaving the Baxter building and he's holding on to Reed. And then he takes the glass and breaks it and puts on his mask. Like, even as a kid, I knew that scene was just terribly edited. And it's still apparent now. So, maybe there was a better version of this movie that existed, but it got cut down. I don't know, but the movie does feel underdeveloped. I wanted more of this story. I wanted more of these characters and their relationship. This movie just needed to be fleshed out more. But the way it exists now is perfectly fine. This is an enjoyable movie. It has its nice comedic bits, the characters are entertaining enough, and it offers enough of what you want in this kind of story. So I'll give Fantastic Four a 6 out of 10. I'm not going to pretend this movie is great, but it's not as bad as its reputation would suggest. But Fantastic Four, have you seen it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.